Hi, Jeremy Crow here. In this video, I wanted to give you a slightly different take on the whole shape-shifting lizard people thing. Now, if you aren't familiar with this, it's a pretty fringe idea, but basically, among the people that talk about this, they say that there are certain individuals that are capable of transforming into a reptilian or lizard-like form. Now, usually this would be a partial transformation, and most notably, people say that the first thing that transforms would be the eyes. So in this case, you would see their eye transform into something that looks more like a cat eye or a lizard eye. And there are people that have found clips, video clips of people who were on, like, say, the news or being interviewed or something that supposedly capture some of these transformations, especially, like I said, the eyes. And I've seen them, it looks a little weird, they glitch up or something, and it's usually just for a second or even half a second or so. But that's the claim that's out there, and there are clips that you can check out and take a look and see what you think for yourself. Now, the most common explanation for this type of shape-shifting lizard person is that they are a hybrid. Now, sometimes they'll just claim that it's simply an alien that is disguised as a human, and these transformations are their true form showing or leaking out in a sense. But I think more commonly it's claimed that these are humans that have some exotic DNA. Now, this would be like a human alien hybrid, for example. And there are a couple different types of aliens that we could talk about, and I did a video specifically on that subject if you wanted to go a little bit more in depth. But you have like an extraterrestrial, which would be an alien species from outside the planet. Now, you also have a type of alien that's alien in the sense of it being strange and unknown. Well, this could be another species of human or humanoid that's on the planet, kind of like how in the past we've had Homo sapiens living alongside Neanderthal or Denisovan humans. People refer to them as a type of human. There's another type of human that's out there that's not Homo sapien like the general public is. That there's this other species of human that's coexisting with us, that they're secret about their existence, but they are, some people call them Homo capensis, and usually they're referred to as like a conehead species. Very similar to humans, but one of the most notable differences would be an elongated skull. And usually that translates into, in the theory, is that a bigger brain and a higher intelligence, and that they are often running things behind the scenes, but in the past maybe they were top dog ruling people. And anyways, that's one of the theories that's out there. And but the more common theory is usually that these are humans that have extraterrestrial DNA in them, as well as Homo sapien DNA, and that they are able to transform into that reptilian form, at least partially, because that extraterrestrial alien species is a reptilian species. And so that's what's out there. That's what the communities that talk about this sort of thing say about that. Now, what I've thought about regarding this is based off of some very real science that's out there. And the idea is that all of us are, in a sense, shape-shifting lizard people, and that we can transform into a reptilian form, in a sense. And in a very real sense, I'm talking about a physical transformation. And let me get into the background here to explain what I'm talking about here. So you may have heard of the idea that there are several brains that a person has. And it's not just, we usually think of our brain as one brain inside of our cranium, and that's the brain. That's our brain. And we think of it singular. But really, it's broken up into different sections. And each of them act almost as if it's a separate brain. So we have like a collection of brains in our skull. We have the reptilian brain, actually, or the lizard brain, some people call it. And this would be mainly composed of like the brain stem, and the spinal column as well would be probably included in that as part of the lizard brain. And we have other brains as well. So now we have like 2 lobes. So we basically have almost like an extra 4 brains in our skull on top of the lizard brain. And these are generally referred to as higher level functioning brains, that some of the more primitive creatures on the planet don't have these, or they have them much less developed than we have them. And they can override the functions of the lizard brain. But sometimes that lizard brain becomes the dominant brain running the organism of our body. There's other brains too, not just in the cranium. Just as a side note, there's the gut brain is the most common one, but the most concentrated brain matter, neurons, and neurotransmitters would be inside the cranium. So let's just talk about that for now. So the lizard brain sometimes can become dominant, and the cases where this happens are generally in a situation where you are perceiving yourself to be in a situation of mortal danger. Now, this could be when confronted with an external threat, such as another creature, so another human or some beast in the wild, a dog if you're afraid of dogs, or a snake or something. And it doesn't even have to be real. So something could move and fall over, and your body reacts and thinks that it's some kind of threat, and you don't even have to consciously think about it. Your body instantly reacts and you jump or try and escape the threat. So this is one instance where for a split second the lizard brain is dominant. Now, you can get into a more intense version where you are genuinely in a state of mortal danger. And in situations like that, your body floods with all these chemicals, including adrenaline, but there are other chemicals that flood your body. The lizard brain becomes dominant, and you have access to powers, you could say, that you don't normally have access to. We've all heard the stories of a desperate mother lifting an entire car off of her child, right? So the energy reserves and the potential that is within the muscles of your body aren't usually able to be fully tapped. But in that situation where you've transformed into a lizard person, in a sense, that you do have much greater access to the reserves that your body is capable of. And so that's just one example. So there are ways that you can transform into a lizard person in a very real sense, physically. And so another thing that I wanted to mention, and I think this is going to be very interesting to a lot of people, is that another way to engage with and activate the lizard brain within yourself is, and others actually, to be frank, is with ritual and ceremony. For some reason, the lizard brain gets trained, you could say, or entranced with ritual and ceremony and symbolism in general, symbolic action and repetitive action. So these are ways that you can interact with the lizard brain, and it could explain a lot if you really think about it. The type of activities you see humans engaging in, that we seem to be fascinated with ceremony and ritual of various types, not just religious. I'm talking secular as well. So I mean, so much of what we do is symbolic and ritual and ceremony, and it's a way to train and interact with the lizard brain, to bypass the conscious mind and those higher level brain functions. So that's just something I wanted to leave you with. There's it for further reading. You can, this is be your homework if you want. Look up Anton LaVey's article on lycanthropy. So that's a word, if you're not sure, it just means transforming into a wolf in a sense, or wolf and man combined is really what the root word comes down to. But it basically means transforming into a beast of some sort, a wild beast. And so he has this article that talks about that. Anton LaVey, the founder of the Church of Satan, has an article on that. I'm not sure if it was written by him or if it was ghost written for him by somebody else, but either way, it's a very interesting article that you might want to read if you want to find out a bit more information about this type of shape-shifting that humans can engage in. So if you like this topic, I encourage you to subscribe to my channel. Join me on this journey of esoteric topics and fringe topics as well. I do videos like this all the time. And until next time, everybody, stay lucid.